I look at the Democrats, they're in total disarray. They have a new person named Crockett. I watched her speak the other day. She's definitely a low IQ person. And they said, she's the future of the party. I said, you have to be kidding. I don't know what they're going to do.
Let's bring in the person he name-checked there, Democratic Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett of Texas. Congresswoman, your response.
The fact that you just got done engaging in a conversation where we have a president of the United States who has no idea about the oath that he just took on January 20th tells me everything that I need to know.
What's up, everybody? Major Retired Richard Ojeda here, and Trump just insulted Representative Jasmine Crockett by calling her low IQ. And the reason is crystal clear. She's an educated black woman who's been dismantling his lies and exposing the rot in his party.
He didn't even have good sense enough in that same interview to say something as simple as, yes, I will follow the Constitution. You know, the thing that actually derived from the oath that he was supposed to take. And he supposedly took an oath, which there's a lot of people that point out that he never put his hand on the Bible, even though he acts as if he could somehow be the Pope. But nevertheless, that oath specifically says that you will defend the Constitution. So the idea that you are now taking the Constitution and, as I said at the DNC, putting it through a paper shredder is a problem. And I think that this should not be partisan. This should be right versus wrong. A lot of the things that this administration is doing, they don't have anything to do with partisanship. This is right versus wrong. And right now, they are consistently wrong.
This isn't just petty name calling. It's a calculated attack on intelligence, on truth, and on every American who refuses to bow down to Donald Trump's cult of ignorance.
You know, people tried to talk about the mental acuity of Joe Biden. And as someone who was able to interact with him, I never questioned his mental acuity. But come on now. Come on, like, you are crashing the economy. We are talking about record crashing of the stock market. We are talking about, you just mentioned it, the amount of people that he has fired. We are talking about people complaining and saying there is nothing at the ports. Right. We are talking about CEOs coming in and sitting down with you and saying that these shelves are going to be as bare as they were during the pandemic. Like, no, everything is a problem.
Donald Trump knows how to rile up his base. Attack the truth tellers. Jasmine Crockett has been setting the record straight on everything from immigration to student loans to Trump's blatant disregard for the Constitution. The former president, who once claimed he didn't know if he had to uphold the Constitution, is terrified of being called out. So instead, he tries to reduce Crockett to a caricature. This entire episode isn't just about two political opponents. It's about what kind of leadership America deserves. One side fears intelligence and accountability. The other side demands it.
Do you think you are the future of the Democratic Party? And if not, who else is?
I don't know that I'm the future of the Democratic Party, but I do know that in this moment, we need people that are unafraid and willing to go after this administration for the good of the entirety of the country. And I think that that is an opportunity that I would have sitting as the ranker on oversight. We will be able to conduct investigations. And as they are not wanting the American people to know about things such as what's going on with FAA, as you were just talking about Newark, or what's going on as it relates to our food, or what's going on as it relates to these firings and how that is impacting, say, our veterans that are trying to go and seek the treatment that they need. They don't want to be transparent and open with the American people. And I want to do that. I want to make sure that we are shining a light on all the darkness that they are bringing to our country right now.
The bottom line is this: you can't build a free and fair democracy by silencing the voices that challenge power. Crockett is doing what real leaders do, standing in the fire, speaking truth, and refusing to back down. That's what scares Trump the most. And it should remind us all that this fight isn't about parties. It's about whether we still value truth, justice, and the Constitution itself. Let's talk about what Trump just did. He insulted Representative Jasmine Crockett again, called her low IQ, didn't argue policy, didn't refute facts, just went straight for the old racist fallback, tear down a smart black woman because he feels threatened. And make no mistake, he is threatened. Crockett is articulate, educated, and unafraid to speak the truth. She's dismantled his immigration policies, called out his authoritarian streak, and now she's been floating to take over to the top spot of the United States House Oversight Committee, and that scares the hell out of him. He knows that his base eats this up. The dog whistles aren't even whistles anymore. They're bullhorns. When he calls her low IQ, he's not just attacking one congresswoman. He's attacking the very idea that someone like her belongs in power. And that's the story of Trump's political playbook. Find someone who makes him look weak, especially if they are a woman, especially if they're a person of color, and go nuclear with the insults. But this time, the insult backfired, because Crockett's response wasn't just a personal clapback, it was a masterclass in leadership. She didn't stoop, she didn't whine, she stood firm and reminded the country exactly why she's the one holding the line on truth. And the contrast between Trump's childish name-calling and her composure is the real threat to him. Because if there's one thing a narcissist can't handle, it's a woman who won't flinch. Trump's real problem isn't Jasmine Crockett's words, it's what she represents. She's the future he's trying to erase. An attorney, a legislator, a black woman who rose through hard work and education. Everything his cult pretends to hate, but secretly fears. Because the truth is, they don't want policy debates. They want loyalty oaths. They don't want smart leaders asking hard questions. They want bootlickers parroting their talking points. Crockett didn't just challenge Trump. She exposed the rot inside his whole operation. When she talked about the self-deportation scheme, about undocumented people being offered a $1,000 check to leave the country, she pulled the curtain back on how broken the entire system is. She laid bare the lie that this is about protecting America. It's not. It's about cruelty. It's about scapegoating. It's about creating a permanent underclass while Trump's inner circle lines its pockets and blames immigrants for everything from gas prices to student debt. And let's not forget Stephen Miller, the man behind the curtain of these policies, the one who twisted immigration law into a punitive weapon, the guy who designed family separations and detention quotas like he was managing a warehouse instead of dealing with human beings. When Crockett took that policy apart and demanded actual numbers, receipts, you could feel the fear in the room, because she was doing what no one in Trump's orbit ever does, telling the truth out loud and on record. Now, this is where the story hits its boiling point. Jasmine Crockett doesn't just take apart the lies, she draws blood. When she lays out how undocumented immigrants contribute over $100 billion in tax revenue, when she calls out the hypocrisy of offering billion-dollar bailouts to corporations while nickel and diming working-class families, you can feel the whole damn system shake. Because she's not just defending immigrants, she's defending truth. And that's what the MAGA machine can't handle. It's not her volume or her hair or her fire. It's the facts. That's why they're coming for her so hard. That's why Trump's out there calling her low IQ. He doesn't say that because it's true. He says it because it's the only thing he's got left. Character assassination is his only play. And it's tired, it's weak, and it's cowardly. Meanwhile, she's over here talking about child labor protections, about failed tariff policies, about the domino effect of mass firings across federal agencies. She's connecting the dots. She's naming names, and she's reminding America that while Trump plays emperor in exile, real people are getting crushed under the weight of his chaos. That's why this isn't just the fact-checked. It's a gut punch. It's the moment where Crockett moves from defense to offense and leaves Trump stumbling for air. She exposes the grift, she exposes the cruelty, and most of all, she reminds us that this isn't just about policy. It's about who we are as a country and whether we're going to let a cartoon strongman rewrite the rules for power. And this is where it all comes full circle. Crockett brings it home with the student loan issue, not as a side note, but as a closing argument. She's not talking theory, she lived it. She's walked that road where you have to choose between getting more education or entering a broken economy with debt already strangling you. And now millions are facing the same crossroads. The economy is unstable, tariffs are shaking markets, firings are accelerating, and what does this administration do? They kick you while you are down. She makes it plain. We bailed out the banks, we bailed out the automakers, we shoveled tax breaks at billionaires who crash the system and get bonuses for doing it. But when working people ask for relief, suddenly it's a personal responsibility. Suddenly it's, well, I paid mine off, why can't they? As if justice is a zero-sum game. The end result of this explosion between Trump and Crockett is that it's the full contrast between someone who weaponizes grievance for power and someone who turns life struggle into purpose. And that's what scares the hell out of the MAGA crowd. Jasmine Crockett doesn't just have the facts. She has the clarity, she has the moral spine, and she has the voice to cut through their noise. She's not asking for power to sit in a fancy chair or get a cable news gig. She wants to investigate. She wants transparency. She wants to fight for veterans losing benefits, for families losing homes, for Americans losing faith. That's what leadership looks like under fire. And it's no wonder Trump is squealing like a stuck pig, because someone finally read the Constitution and the receipts. We're not just witnessing a political moment. We're witnessing a turning point. And it starts with telling the truth, standing your ground, and refusing to let lies define our future. Is Crockett the future of the party? She answered the question quite clearly, and that was an absolute fact. Sappers clear the way, airborne all the way.